Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ghost Stories with Kitten. Tonight I'll be reading you true, real paranormal encounters read to you by a real human, not AI. Let's go. This story takes place in Kyoto, Japan. I arrived in Kyoto today. I'm staying in a very nice traditional style Airbnb with 2 stories, and it's right by the mountains. It's beautiful. There are a few bedrooms upstairs and one downstairs connected to an eerie tatami-style room with a light that actually doesn't work at all. I plan to sleep in the one room downstairs by myself, connected to that eerie room. I already be feeling a little bit out of place. A little bit misspelling here. I already had been feeling a little bit out of place. I started researching on the area. We're very close to many places with many stories on spirits. My brothers and I decided to use a ghost talking app as a joke, to freak out our younger brother. It was funny at first, and extremely active in the little room next to my room. Then, when my brother got closer, it started saying words like brother, kill, little, boy, and we were very spooked by it. Also, there was a red moon at the time. It was hardly active upstairs. So I decided to share a room with my brother up here. Also, the aircon keeps turning off and on by itself and it's really freaking me out. May just be my GAD, acting up. Anyone else had similar experiences to me? I went to the old jail in St. Augustine and had my first definitive experience. So during spring break, me and my mother went to the old jail in St. Augustine. It was the night the ghost tour took place, and it was just me and her and the tour guy. Now I believe I'm sensitive to the paranormal. I see and hear things a lot, and also get strange feelings in certain areas. So, into the real story. So we went up to the deputy's room. We used the spirit bell along with the motion Dorito. I have no idea what motion Dorito is. And some other stuff. Seems like they really only cared about me specifically. They would answer my questions and said multiple times they wanted me alone. So I sat in a rocking chair in the corner of a room, and me and my mum hear a girl's voice say, "Hey!" and some footsteps. Everyone was in the same room. As you know, it was only the 3 of us, the 2 guys and me, and a tour guide, and my mum. So they put the bell next to me while I was in the rocking chair, and it kept ringing in these threes after every question. When we put the REM pod wherever the bell was, it started going off like crazy, like someone was directly touching it. Also, there's supposedly an evil entity called the Crawler. We definitely talked to, and I guess that room felt noticeably heavier, and I felt anxious. Like when you drink a lot of sugar and you become kind of jittery. That's how I felt. But the room was so warm, and I had nothing but water all day. So I definitely think I'm sensitive to these things. But let me know what you guys think. This is really the only place I can share and not be laughed at. Your narrator here, just a medical note about your jitteriness. You'd mentioned that like when you have sugar, right? Like if you have too much sugar or caffeine, you get jittery. You'd also mentioned that you only had water all day long and you felt jittery. This is your reminder. You will have a hypoglycemic crash if you only have water, which is where you don't have enough sugar, so your blood sugar drops actually quite dangerously. So if you ever feel that again, please eat something sugary quick like glucose. It will help you out in a pinch. Next story. I bought a house in New Orleans. I should have done my research first. I should have known something was off the moment I signed the papers. $75,000 for a 3-bedroom shotgun in the house of the Bywater district, in this market, too good to be true. But I was broke, impulsive, and in love with a romantic idea of New Orleans, its music, the food, the magic. I'd just gotten out of a nasty breakup, was looking for a fresh start. So when the keys hit my palm, I told myself it was fate. It wasn't. The house was narrow and creaky, with warped wood floors and shutters that wouldn't stay closed. But it had charm and history. You could feel it in the bones of the place. The first week was uneventful, aside from the smell. No matter how much I cleaned, there was this thick, earthly scent in the air, like wet soil and something older, something sweet. I wrote it off as mildew. And then, on the 8th night, I heard it, knocking. It was not at the door. No, it was inside the wall. I froze in my bed. It was rhythmic, 3 knocks, a pause, and then 2 more. At first I thought it was the old plumbing, or maybe raccoons. But the knocks just kept coming, every night, and the same pattern. I tried ignoring it, and then I tried recording it. The audio would pick up the house creaking, my breathing, and my whispered, "Hello?" But no knocking, not even once. I was starting to feel somewhat insane, until the closet wall cracked. I was reorganizing the linen closet in the hallway when I noticed it. One plank slightly warped, the wallpaper curling away at the edges, and I pressed on it. It moved. Behind it was a doorway. No handle, no knob, just a small circular mark carved into the wood, a symbol that I didn't recognize. Almost like a veve. I am a narrator here. Veve, for those who are wondering, is a symbol used in the voodoo religion, particularly the Haitian voodoo and Louisiana voodoo religions. It's usually like either like a protection sigil. God, I can't even speak today, I apologize. Sometimes it's a spell. It can have various meanings. I should have stopped there. I didn't. I pried it open with a crowbar. It was a room, a whole 4th room in my house. It wasn't even on the floor plan, not even on the listing, not in the blueprints I pulled from the city archives. But there it was, cold, dark, and pulsing with something. There were no windows. The walls were covered in strange smeared symbols drawn in what looked like ash or even blood. The air smelled thick, like rot and incense. In the center room sat a wooden chair. On it, a burlap doll pinned with rusty nails, its head missing. Oh dear. And surrounding it, all bones. Not animal bones, small bones, finger bones, and human teeth. I ran. I didn't sleep that night. I barely breathed. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the chair. The next day, I brought in a local priestess, Mambo Clarice. I should have gone for Bloody Mary. She's pretty good too. She didn't speak much when she saw the room. Just looked at me and said, "This house wasn't empty when you moved in." She wouldn't go inside even. She just sprinkled salt across the threshold, murmured something in Creole, gave me a small jar filled with red liquid and feathers. "Keep this by your bed," she instructed. "Whatever they called here, it don't sleep." That night the knocking turned into footsteps. I could hear them pacing in the hidden room, back and forth, dragging something. And then the whispers started, low guttural voices speaking in a language I couldn't place. They whispered my name over and over, Amara, Amara, Amara. I blocked off a room, nailed it shut, covered it with a bookshelf. It didn't help. The smell's worse now. My plants die suddenly overnight, mirrors crack when I walk past, and sometimes when I sleep, I wake up with dirt under my nails. But I don't remember digging. I tried selling the house. The listing won't stay up. Realtors stopped returning my calls. I think I'm stuck here. I think I was meant to find that room. I think someone wants me to finish what they started. Last night I heard a voice, a woman, weeping softly. This morning the closet door was open again, and there's dirt on the floor, and a single tooth sitting on my pillow. Your narrator, I'm gonna bet that's a fake story. Just there's too many little off things in there, like the realtors and stuff, that I don't quite buy. But I will say, as someone who has spent a significant amount of time in New Orleans, it's definitely a very magical place. And she being the city, will humble you very fast. The love spirit experience from my dad in the 80s. In the 1980s, my dad and my mum experienced a ton of paranormal events. This took place in northern Indiana. They experienced so much to the point they had entire notebooks about this one spirit they called the love spirit. It's making me think of like the Love Boat. They used a Ouija board to contact it frequently. The spirit ended up sending them a physical letter in the mail. What? It was a chain letter. It told them to send the same letter to others in the area. Oh my gosh, don't buy that. That was a thing in the early 90s. You'd get these chain letters. They were ridiculous, especially in emails. You got played there, I'm afraid. Anyway, we'll continue the story. It basically said, kiss someone you love 10 times. Send this letter to 10 people, or else you'll have bad luck. Love, the love spirit. The spirit had contacted other people in the area to do the same thing. Can't believe you're buying this. My dad wrote a letter and had accidentally gotten barbecue chips on it, but it got freaked out by the spirit and finally they burned it. So anyways, 5 years to the day, the exact same letter appeared in my parents' mailbox with the same barbecue fingerprint from Gary, Indiana. I want to also add that my parents decided to burn the Ouija board and smothered it in gasoline. They even let it get saturated for a few minutes in gas. It wouldn't burn, even with the gas on. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it is funny. There's much more to this story, including how the love spirit started getting angry with them, kept repeating how he's going to slash their necks open, and later, just the letter N, later, that day my parents came back inside from swimming. Then when they came back outside, the pool floaty was slashed open and folded on the side of the pool. Also, how the spirit would yank my mum's ponytail. Anyways, lots of creepy stuff. I want to know if anyone's ever had contact with the same spirit. This is such a shot in the dark, but I gotta try. I think I was made a believer by a dog bowl. Hello. For some brief context, I have adamantly refused to accept anything as paranormal. I always say it's staged. Strings, air pressure, etc. But today I witnessed something that I genuinely could not explain. I was over at my friend's house after hanging out for the day so she could feed her dog. We come home, I sit at the dining room table, she puts dog food in a metal bowl, and sets it on the tile in the center of the kitchen. Her dog begins to eat. She walks out of the kitchen and leans on the tall bar between the kitchen and the living room. We chat for a while she's holding her cat and the dog had eventually wandered off to sit at my feet for a while. While we were chatting for about 20 minutes or so, we heard the metal bowl scraping on the floor, like as if a dog was licking it clean and it was sliding across the tile. Not seeing her dog at my feet, she calls to her, "Honey, I don't think there's any food left." The scraping immediately stops. I speak up and say, "No, it's got to be Sophie. Honey's right here. Sophie is her dog, whom I forgot had passed away somewhat recently." My friend goes a little quiet and reminds me of her passing, and I apologize profusely. But as I speak, we both of us realized her pets aren't even in the kitchen, but next to us. So we both walk to the kitchen and find nothing. I kick the bowl, looking to explain the sound as usual, guessing the dog probably kicked it on her way to me or something. But it didn't sound the same at all. What we heard distinctly sounded like the bowl being pushed around on the floor for several seconds, and it wasn't like it suddenly stopped without tapering off. It's kind of hard to explain all of this. My friend and I talked about it for a while, and she said that her mum had a paranormal experience in this same part of the house. All in all, I just had this really odd feeling. So, ghost puppy? I don't usually use Reddit, but I had to put this somewhere. Wendigo experience. Oh, we love a Wendigo. We don't get too many Wendigo stories, so this should be fun. Out of curiosity, have any of you experienced something in the Appalachian Mountains that you weren't supposed to see? I was at an Airbnb on the peaks of the mountains is Harper's Ferry last weekend, and the host said the hot tub closed at 11, and there were sage bundles on the table inside. I thought nothing of it. But looking back now, I think they knew something wasn't right and set those rules and precautions just in case to protect patrons. The first night, we were in the hot tub till around 2 a.m. We smelled this foul or rancid, musky smell. I didn't recognize it. The woods went silent, and we heard branches breaking. We went inside. We woke up and all the doors were suddenly open. Next night, again the smell, rancid, no wind, no sound, just silent. Went inside, but I lost my nipple ring. These stories are wild, Dane, but I lost my nipple ring. My friend went outside to look for it, and my new alert fell in front of her face. What the hell is a new alert? She stood up, and as I was standing by the door, I saw a figure. It looked like a mangled deer, unnatural height with antlers and looming eyes, and messed up my arms and fingers. Oh, with messed up arms and fingers. Sorry, the writing on this one is terrible. I screamed, and she ran inside. We saged the house, and the hand she didn't use, her fingers turned black. I was shaking and half in tears the rest of the night, and refused to leave the bedroom, the only room in the house with curtains. This house was overlooking the Shenandoah River, on top of a mountain, no blinds or curtains in the main living area. I refused to go out there. I've never been so genuinely terrified in all my life. I sat in a corner, clenching my knees until the sun came up. Well, as you narrate here, what have we learned from this story? Apparently, Wendigos will steal your nipple rings, or it could well be, and just hear me out, this might be a scientific guess here, I'm going to bet you should look in that hot tub, because I bet your nipple ring came out in the hot tub, and it's probably in there, maybe even in the filter somewhere. Because something similar has happened to me, is the only reason I suggest it. Next story. I know I saw a skinwalker, but no one believes me. So, this all happened when I was 12, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I used to hang out with a girl named Lilith. Her house is right on the edge of the Appalachian Mountains. Oh, this is another Appalachia story. Cool. The woods behind our house stretched to the trail, too. We had made our own little trail through the woods and marked the tree with markers. One night, around 9 p.m., we decided to go on a walk by ourselves, which we never usually do. And about an hour into the walk, we started hearing something walking with us. We checked around us, but shrugged it off since it's still the woods and there's, of course, animals everywhere. As we kept walking, we heard her mum yell to us. We usually could hear her if we were close to the house, but her mum never stepped foot into the woods. She swears that the woods would take her if she did. So we went to turn around and go back to the house. But then we both remember we were an hour into the walk and nowhere near to the house. We started walking back anyway, not wanting to stay in the woods anymore, especially since it was dark and we were now scared. We heard something running behind us and we quickly checked, but there was nothing there. About half an hour into the walk back, we heard something walking with us again. This time we ignored it, and I think that made it mad. It was very alert now, paranoid, and trying to pay attention to every little sound. As I was looking at the group, I noticed Lilith's feet stop walking, and I looked back at her. She looked terrified. I asked her what was wrong. She said something about seeing someone in front of us. But I didn't fully pay attention. I just looked ahead and didn't see anything. I told her to stop trying to scare me, thinking she was just trying to freak me out. I was soon proven very wrong. About 10 minutes from her house, I heard her mum yell to us again, but it sounded wrong, like her mum, but as if her mum was sick. The voice had a rasp in it, and it sounded like a radio broadcast. We started walking faster. About 20 feet ahead of us, we finally saw what was messing with us. It ran across the trail quickly, big. I saw what it looked like, and I was terrified. It was like nearly 8 feet tall, unhumanly sort of skinny, pale, naked. Its arms hung low to its knees. Its fingers were lanky and bony, but it had no face. Its fingers had the space for eyes, but didn't have them. That's strange. We ran back and didn't tell anyone. She refuses to talk about it, and people I've told refuse to believe me, saying I didn't know what I saw because I was so young, but I know what I saw, and I know it was real. weird happenings over the space of a few days. So this happened around 2015, in the space of a few days. Weird, unexplained things started to happen in the home and in the car. So firstly, as me and my wife were in bed, just dozing off, we both heard a voice call out her name. It was from directly outside the bedroom door. Straight away, we knew something was not right, as we both heard it. We couldn't explain it, but we went about our lives as normal the next day. During the day, I would be at home, and I've never felt the feeling as being watched before until then. It was so bizarre. I put it down to me being paranoid over the previous incident. Then, as we were going shopping, both sitting in the car, putting on our seatbelts, the locks on the door started opening and closing by themselves, which freaked us out. The final incident was in the sitting room where our son's toys were. He had an inflatable toy, and as I was looking at it, I noticed a mark like ink or a tattoo on it, which definitely wasn't there before. The best description is it was kind of circular and almost tribal-like. Anyway, as soon as it started, it stopped and never happened again. Still kind of freaks me out a bit. But yeah, I figured I'd share with you guys in case anyone has had a similar experience. Next story. I'm scared as fuck right now. I live alone for about a month now, since my landlord died a horrible death. It's 2 floors of a private house, and only my landlord's mother and I have the keys to this house. An hour ago I took a bath. Everything was fine, until I clearly heard a 3 times knock to the bathroom door. Thank God I have a habit to lock the doors even when I'm alone. I became quiet, heard nothing after that. The good thing, or not, I have a window in the bathroom that overlooks my yard, which is the only entrance to the house. My landlord's mother is quite an old woman, which is why she always uses a car to get there. She lives at a different side of town that I live in. But there was no car in the yard, and even more, I was deliberately watching at the yard for about 10 minutes to see if anybody leaves or is entering the house. There was nobody. I came quickly to my room, locked the door. A very useful thing is, I have quite a good microphone, and during my bath time, I was in my The Voice channel in Discord with my friends. Not sure what that means. I asked one of them if they could hear anything. He said, about 10 minutes ago, he'd heard steps and rustles in my room, and he heard the closing of the door. The fact is, literally 10 minutes ago I was in water, and I heard these knocks, and I was shaking with fear in the bath, showing the camera from my phone on Discord to a friend. I checked the house twice, but found no one. The funny thing is, the only place I can't check is my dead neighbor's room. It's always closed intentionally. I don't know what to do. I don't really believe in ghosts. But I can't get rid of this fear. Does anyone have any thoughts? P.S. Sorry for the language on this. It's my first one. Weird experience at the park when I was a child. My mum remembers it too. I've gone back and forth about posting this because I know how it sounds. But it's one of the few things I've never been able to explain. This happened sometime between 2008 and 2012. I was probably only around 8 to 12 years old. It was just a normal park in my stepdad's area. Baseball fields, trails, some construction going on. There was a big circular concrete structure right off the path. Kind of like a low water tank. Middle of the day, cloudy. Nothing felt off. Me and my mum were leaving the park, walking back to the baseball field for a trail. 2 older women were ahead of us and passed the concrete structure like everything was completely normal. When we got to it, I randomly turned my head to the right. And that is when I saw it, something hovering just above the concrete structure. At first my brain couldn't even process it. I remember blinking and just staring, trying to understand what the hell I was looking at. It looked humanoid, sitting cross-legged, blue skin, but not flat or painted. It looked deep, almost something like faint that was moving under the surface. I remember seeing 4 arms, yellow eyes, narrow pupils already locked onto me. It had something like a gold and blue cloak on, but I couldn't focus on it properly. The patterns wouldn't stay still. Every time I tried to look at a part of it, it shifted slightly. The second we locked eyes, everything changed. The sound dropped, not silent, just distant. Like I was in a tunnel or a cave. My ears started ringing. My body felt heavy. I remember thinking I should move. Yet I didn't. I wasn't scared. That's the part that still doesn't make any sense. I just stood there. I could hear my mum yelling my name, but it sounded so far away, like it was echoing. She kept calling me over and over. I still didn't respond. What stuck with me most was her face. She was a bit ahead of me, maybe 10 feet. She looked genuinely scared, like she didn't understand what the hell was happening. She kept walking for a second, and turned back and suddenly grabbed my hand. The second she pulled me, everything snapped back into reality. The ringing stopped. The sound came back all at once. Felt like I'd come out of something like a trance. We both started running down the trail, not leaving the park completely, but just getting away from that area. I remember stumbling a bit, like my body had to catch up. I looked back while we were moving. It was still there. I was shocked. It's still in the same position. Didn't move its body, just turned its head slightly, and kept looking at me. Pan-dimensional beings, says I, narrator here, or almost like a Krishna-type entity. And I don't know how to explain it properly, but it almost looked like it had a slight smirk on its face, not obvious, just something about it felt self-aware. After that, I didn't really ever talk about it. It just sat in the back of my head. Years later, 2021, I was talking to my mum about something unrelated. She brought it up on her own before I had even mentioned it. She said she remembered that moment and feeling frozen. She said for a few seconds it was like she forgot I was even there, which is what bothered her most looking back. She said she pushed it out of her mind after that because it freaked her out so very much. I thought about it a lot over the years, actually. I've even had enough normal memories to know the difference between something real and something imagined as a child. And this never felt like something I had made up, or would she. I've never told anyone else because I figured no one would really believe it. I'm not looking for validation from any of you either. The only way I can describe it is that ever since that day, something has felt slightly different in my world. Not in a bad way, just different. It's hard to explain. Mostly wondering if anyone else had experienced something similar, especially the sound/tunnel feeling and not being able to respond. You'll narrate here, I think that was an awesome story, and I 100% believe that you saw that entity. Guys, I guess I just saw a skinwalker. Oh goody, another skinwalker story. Sorry if my English is all over the place, it's alright. It's not my first language, and it's literally just happened, and I had to share it with you all. So it's like 4:30 in the morning, and I couldn't sleep, so I decided to go for a quick walk so I could get some fresh air. Sometimes my head won't be quiet, and this helps me most of the time. I'm living in the center of a city, so there are a lot of houses all around me, but a few minutes of walking get me to a cemetery with a small wooded area. Normally I don't go there as it's dark, but this time something almost tried to lure me there, because just after starting my walk, I saw a random dog. It wasn't a dog I knew from my neighbors, and it walked like it was hurt, so I tried to follow it and see if it would let me help. But it took off some turns, and we ended up pretty close to a wooded area. It ran to the dark, and I guess it was gone for good. I tried to get a better look with my phone flashlight, but it was too dark, so I turned around and wanted to leave. When suddenly I heard my mother. And this can't be because we live apart like 6 driving hours and we weren't even on good terms. So what was out there that tried to lure me? I will say here, reading this after the story's done, your English is actually pretty good. There are only a couple of mistakes there, but you did pretty damn good there. I think it's interesting there are so many of these stories where people are hearing their mother's voices luring them. I told you that my friend, this was actually in a previous podcast, a few ones back if you want to listen to it, he heard the same thing in the woods, his mother calling to him, and yet he phoned her and she was nowhere on the property and very, very, very far away, and they live on a very vast property of multiple acres. So it's interesting other people are having similar experiences. I wonder what it could be. And on that note, I will say we have reached the end of this podcast. We're just about to hit the 30-minute mark. And if you are still awake and listening to the cadence of my voice, I just want to say thank you. Please, if you could, take a moment to comment anything under, even if it's one of your paranormal stories, please do share it with us. Or even if it's just a comment of goodwill or a like, it means the world to us and it helps keep this channel go. In a world of everything, it's now AI everything, it's nice to have some real human voices out there, and I'm trying my best to stick with this. So if you want to hear more, please subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great night and sleep tight.